It happened. It fucking happened again. Not as soon as I'd want it to happen, but I got a lot to explain. I have a lot to explain and we got a lot to talk about. First things first, I do want to apologize for being gone for the last couple weeks. It feels like it's been like a year off of YouTube. It's really only been a couple weeks, but a lot has been going on that I haven't talked about. Nothing wrong mechanically with the car. I mean, obviously you saw the title of this video. That isn't clickbait. I will fully explain what's going on. But mainly, there is something going on still with the car. Now, where do I start? I think we should kind of go back a little bit. So where did we leave off? The last time I talked to you guys was... Fuck. Was it after we tuned it? No, after we fixed the tranny. After we fixed the tranny, car's been good, mind you. Tranny's still fine, so that's a positive. Tranny's still totally good. Now, tranny's been good. Motor's been good. Everything has been fine. No issues. But about a week, 2 weeks ago, a slight issue was developed, and it's an issue. It's a big issue that needs to be addressed. Now, mind you, before I get into it, this has nothing to do with Bruno, this has nothing to do with the engine, has nothing to do with the tune, nothing like that. But we'll get onto that conversation on what's going on with the car right now. Let's get up to speed of things. Well, I guess we can go ahead and pop the hood here. I'll show you guys the custom front mount we had done on the car. So many of you guys already saw the official video I recorded. Now I can give you guys a basic rundown on what's going on with it. There it is. Look at that. So, there you go. There you have it. So as you guys know, the last time I pretty much talked to you guys was when I picked up the front mount. Now that guy completely screwed me on that. All the piping wasn't for a WRX or an STI. So basically a rundown of the kit, which I found out, it's a CNT racing kit. Now, the core itself is good for about 700 horsepower. And the kit itself was made 5 years ago by CNT. Godspeed also made it, and a few other companies made it as well. It's a complete 100% knockoff of Turbo XS, to a T, which is why these companies like Godspeed, CNT, they all got sued and whatnot because they said, hey, you guys can't keep making our kit. So, legit, the kits have been off the market for a very long time. The kid that sold to me swore up and down that it was good, yada yada yada. He had it on his STI. I called him out on his bluff and he was full of shit. So, all that horse sort of thing, he basically, screwed me on the kit. So I had to get in contact with my buddy Gabriel over at FCS Race, and we custom fabbed our own kit. Now, it came out good. All we're waiting on is powder coat, and I actually shouldn't even be wasting time right now. I should be taking apart the car, because I actually have to remove the whole intercooler, because we're actually going to be powder coating it tomorrow. So the whole kit's getting powder coated. We're going to powder coat everything wrinkle red to match the intake manifold, so it'll go nice and be all red. Should look pretty nice. And it'll actually flow really nicely with the red piping, with the tile 50 mil blow-off valve all shiny like that. It should look pretty dope. And let's see, we did the front mount. That was all good. That was clean. And, oh, check out the bumper. Me and my dad had to cut this and make this perfect. Look at that. It is perfectly flush with the front mount. We didn't slip. That's totally just a chip. But, yeah, intercooler, man. It literally fits beautiful in here. I love it. Absolutely love it. It looks so clean, so crisp. But it is a pain. We did have to take the bumper off probably about 150 times just to make sure that it was in fact perfect, but we got it done. Basically, we had to make pipes out of everything that we had, and it was pretty cool. The whole custom kit actually worked out to our advantage, and I say that because when you do a front mount that's off the shelf, for one, you have to delete this plastic piece right here. Now, if you don't know, the open hole starts right here. So this would just be open right over the alternator. The hood scoop wouldn't be functional. We have it, so you can see it presses up a little bit right there on the AOS. Mind you, we also had to relocate that. We mounted it by the pitch stop right there. It used to sit, on the side of the intake manifold, but that's all routed properly now, and it's dead center, and it actually looks pretty cool. Anyhow, so you have this tray here. If you remove that tray like you have to in all the off-the-shelf kits, it guides air to the alternator. And the alternator don't really need that much airflow. Now, if you look here, check this out. It goes right to the AOS, it goes right to the intercooler pipe and into the back of the turbo. And to the blow-off valve. So, blow-off valve is extremely loud because it blows off right there. The piping and everything gets cool because the air goes straight through and it dumps right behind the engine of the downpipe. So this actually works better than the intercooler because now it's cooling down my exhaust in the back of the motor and the turbo as I'm going along the road. More cool things about having a custom front mount. Basically, some other cool little tricks and tips here. A lot of these front mounts, you cannot access your oil cap with your whole hand on it like this. You can't do that. For some reason, nobody can make this bend from factory. They're all like more of a straight sort of, it looks cleaner. I will mind you that. Like the off-the-shelf kits are and do look a lot cleaner. But can't access your oil cap, and if you have a Subaru, you know you got to be topping off oil every once and again. So definitely having this accessibility like this, we were able to add that little bit of customizability to it, and it made it so much easier to access my oil filler cap. Another thing, in that kit, the guy didn't sell me a coolant expansion tank, aka overflow tank. I didn't want to get an aftermarket Mishimoto one or Perrin one because they're like $200 for a small little tank, you know. So we were able to fit the pipe. We were actually able to fit the pipe down there. So stock location, didn't have to move the coolant expansion, have full access to the filler neck, and was able to keep the tray and cool down the turbo with the whole Ram Air deal. So it worked out. I think the intercooler piping, the design of it actually looks pretty cool. It's a mixture between like the Perrin and the ETS. Now we did do things a little bit differently. We ran the blow-off valve on the hot side. As you know, everybody runs it on the cold side, closest to the throttle body. Pretty much our theory on that is we're releasing air right after the turbo. So the turbo spools up air, blows it off. Now, the cool thing about blowing air off right there is it actually like lets out more air. It creates less stress on the turbo because it's letting out faster air and more air closer to the turbo. If it's at the throttle body and you release air there, all this air on the hot side of the pipe is still in there because it has to travel all the way around to the cold side. Now that this is on the hot side, it blows off the hot side quicker. But long story short, I'd rather not get into it. There's a bunch of science to that, and I'd rather not get into it. But yeah, actually, before I jump ship here, trip out on this. So this Vibrant clamp here, I had to get these little Vibrant V-bands and this little hose. Surprisingly, the Pep Boys Speed Shop had it down the street when we did it at my buddy Gabriel's place. Like, we were literally mind blown that they had a reducer like that, but they did. So thankfully we got that done, and we got those clamps. That was like $90 for some hose, that rubber coupler, and like 2 clamps. So it was pretty pricey. It's the little things like that that nickel and dime you to death when building a car or doing anything custom for that matter. Ooh, look at baby girl right here. Ooh, baby girl. That's the daily. This is now the broken race car, and I will explain. So let's get into it. So what happened? The car's been driving fine. One night I came home like a week and a half ago at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and as you know, my turbo is a dual ball bearing turbo. I like to listen to it when it turns off. Like, who wouldn't? You know, you hear shh. So pulled up, turned the car off, and it's like and it started skipping, and immediately I was like, oh shit, here we go. There's issues. Turbo's blown. Damn it. Man, I was like so depressed, so bummed. And I went out. I went in my room, I went to sleep, kind of tried to forget about it, woke up, and I said, hey, just like when the engine blew up, this is pretty real right now. It's blown up again. And then I called Bruno, and Bruno's like, hey, like, don't worry about it yet. You have to like really figure this out. So I said, okay, what do I got to do then? And he's like, well, you got to check the turbo. And I said, all right. How do you check the turbo? You have the inlet of the turbo and the outlet. You can remove the turbo inlet or you can remove the downpipe. So it took Bruno a while to get that inlet on. Those inlets are a pain in the ass to get on and off. So I was like, you know what? I think I'll do the downpipe. So I jacked up the car. It was like 120 degrees out here. It was crazy hot. I got the downpipe off, and I went to take a look at the turbo, and there was no shaft play. It had the regular forward and backward, you know, little movement, but no side-to-side shaft play, none of that. It spun freely, didn't make any noises. But when I opened it, I found a little... It was weird. I don't know what it was that was in there. I don't know how it got in there or what it was. The whole thing is sealed. I don't know what it was, but it looked like a little piece of tape or something. And that was my immediate thought. Like, that's why he was skipping. That's why he was making those noises. That's why it was doing what it was doing. Took that little piece out, kind of threw it away. And then I was like, you know what? We're good. I'll put a video here. This is the video that I took of me spinning the turbo. Take a look. And yeah, as you can see, it's spinning perfectly normal. But, so we did that, and I'm like, alright, bitchin', I got my car back. Whew, dodged a major bullet on that one. Today, right now that I'm filming this, it is Thursday. On Monday of this week, I was driving up the street to my house. I was leaving work, came home from work, drove all the way up to my house, pulled in my driveway, and it was hot out. I went to shut it off. I shut the car off, and this is what I heard. But yeah, it's grinding. It's definitely grinding. Something's definitely broken, and it's definitely the turbo. Now, let's discuss turbo deals. So, many of you are probably going to say, well, this is your fault, and I really don't want the hate right now, guys. I really miss you guys. I've been off of YouTube for a while, what it feels like, but that's another thing that I want to discuss after the fact with the car itself, and why I've been off. But basically, yeah, turbo's gone. Now, as far as getting a used turbo, basically what happened was, when I bought that turbo, the guy that I bought it from was the guy who sold me my header and my up pipe and my wastegate. That dude was really truthful about things. He said it only had 3,000 miles, and he was a stand-up guy. Obviously, like every other sleazy person, they generally come up as stand-up people. I got fucked. That's basically what happened. I got fucked. The turbo itself probably has about 40,000 miles of straight abuse on it for it to break the way that it did. Normally what goes out, you know, would have been caused by, like, my failure, but dude, my car has never seen over 23 pounds. It's seen over 23 pounds since I did the front mount, and before that it was like 17, 18 pounds all the time. This turbo is capable of like 35 plus pounds. So it's like, we weren't even pushing this little thing to where, you know, it was at its potential, like, at all, which sucks, because we're babying the turbo, and it still found a way to blow up, which is just a clear example of not my fault, it was the previous owner's fault. Now, I get it, used turbo, used shit, used problems. It sucks, you know. Obviously, I'm going to blame him, fuck that guy, but at the same time, I'm the one who bought a used turbo. Please don't try and become my internet dad and try and tell me about doing this or that. Like, I know, I'm learning from my own mistake, and it sucks because it's a big price to pay. And it's a big price to pay because the turbos runs you between $1,500 and $2,000 without labor. That's just the turbo. If I'm going to rebuild it, I've tried to get a hold of Honeywell, Garrett, and nothing. Garrett, there's no contact number, just, you know, inquiry submission forms. I've sent them forms and trying to get a response back, nothing from them. I tried getting in contact with the dude Brandon that sold me everything, and he's a ghost, 100%. I didn't hit him up being mean. I said, hey dude, like, this is like my daily, it's hot out, I can't really be driving the race car around, like, I need my car, can I at least have my stock turbo back? Or I'll buy my stock turbo, like, just please, like, just help me out. And he's a ghost. But that's that. It blows, it really does, but hey, what can you do, right? So, where do I go about from here? I gotta buy a new turbo, that's obvious. Now, I wish I could just rebuild this one, and my plans are to rebuild it if I find a way, but I'm not trying to just buy a rebuild kit off of eBay. That's not what I want to do, and that's not what I'm about. So, hopefully all is well with Garrett. They get back to me and I can get this one sent out. If I can't get this one sent out, then I just gotta buy a whole new one. It sucks. It sucks. It's not a good feeling, you know, putting $20,000 into something and only being able to enjoy it for a month. July 4th marked 1 month since I got the car back. So pretty much we've had the car back for almost 2 months now. As we're coming to a close here in July. I've had the car for almost 2 months and it's back down again. I don't know how soon it's gonna be till I get it back on the road. You know, it's definitely expensive for a turbo. That isn't money that I just have on hold to buy a turbo. And yeah, what really sucks about the turbo deal, Bruno says it should be okay, but and when I tell you my whole reasoning behind me not being on YouTube lately, it'll make more sense, but this just added more stress to the whole Subaru deal, because now in the back of my head is there metal in my motor from the turbo? Did it shoot metal in? Is my turbo gone? Is my turbo broken? Along with my engine. Did it shoot ball bearings? Because as you know, dual ball bearing turbos, when they break like this, they send ball bearings into the motor and it's just catastrophic failure. As far as I'm concerned, the motor isn't knocking. I know I have to drain the oil, but there's no sense in doing that until there's a new turbo on there. But yeah, trying to stay in high spirits about it, but that's up with the car. So as of right now, the turbo's blown and possibly the engine. There's a slight chance. But we're going to stay positive about it and hope for the best. We just got to save up for a turbo and then we'll be back on the road. So, let's talk about why I've been off of YouTube. I would just like to say this isn't by choice. This isn't... I've been in a depressed state ever since I got the car back. I banged out those videos for you guys with the GoPro. I got all that. That was fun, and I miss doing that. And I miss beating on the car and railing on the car for your entertainment. But what I've come to find out and what I've come to realize when owning this car is, and it's funny, it really is funny because I remember watching Evan Shanks make a video just like this when, you know, he titled it, you know, Selling My STI. And he basically said that it was an unhealthy car to own. When I bought the car, my whole thing was, you know what, I'm going to prove everybody wrong just like my dad's car was, and it's going to run a long time with power. And it lasted 5 months. I fixed it, tranny started grinding. I fixed that, turbo's blown up. Now, I'm not giving up. I don't like giving up on things, but I'm starting to get to a point now where I can't enjoy what I've built. I can't enjoy this car that I have because I'm stressed 24 hours of the day about it. Like, I don't know if you can see it in my face. Like, it's such a headache. And it's not a headache. It drives fine. Like, before the turbo deal, this thing had no hiccups. It wasn't doing anything weird. Like, it was driving normal. It drives fine. It's a good car. But there's just something in the back of my head that's yelling at me all the time saying, it's gonna blow up, it's gonna break, it's gonna this, it's gonna that, it's gonna this, it's gonna that, and it kills me. It really does, because this is my dream car. Obviously not, I got bigger dream cars, but this is one of my dream cars that was attainable at my age right now and my finances. And it's just... It's not even, you gotta pay to play. You know, everybody says that. I fucking hate Subaru people, I'm sorry. But there's just so many people that, like, there's so many mixed communities based on the Subaru community. There's so many people that say you need a lot of money to have a Subaru, and there's other people that say you need this to have a Subaru. You can't think like that. But it's like, I don't know how to think. How do you have a car that, yeah, it's fun to go fast. Like, I'll fully admit it. If, you know, how I drive this car on a daily basis, I cruise this car all the time when I'm by myself in it. The only times that this car will see a pull is when me and a friend go out to a movie, or I go out to dinner with friends and I'm having fun, or I'm trying to show somebody the power of the car. I built this car to show people what a Subaru can do, because when I was shown that, it made me the happiest person on earth, you know, when I rode in my dad's for the first time. Ever since then, I'm like, you know what? I love that, because I take people for rides, and you should see the smile on their face, like, this thing's insane, and I love that, you know? I've always wanted friends with cool cars, because I've always wanted to ride in cool cars that made me smile. But I've always been the friend that's had the coolest cars, so I've kind of been X'd out on that. long story short, getting back on track here. Basically what I'm trying to say is I don't know how to feel with this car anymore. I get in it. Every time I turn the key, what plays in my head is that is one, ignition start closer to death. Every time I do a pull, it's, why did you just do that? Are you that stupid? You're taking life out of your brand new motor. You're going to blow up your car because you just did a pull right now, and you're going to hate yourself when your car's parked in your driveway with a blown up engine, all because you had to do a pull right now leaving the gym. You know what I mean? And it sucks. Every time I shift a gear, I'm like, wow, it didn't grind, but I probably put stress on it to where it's going to grind when I'm cruising, just trying to go about my day. Everything I do in this car, it's affecting me in a negative way as far as mentally. I don't know. I want to be happy about it, and I am happy about it. I get in here, I'm smiling. It's smiles per gallon. I love it. I love the sounds, the smells. Like, believe me, the sounds are incredible. With the blow-off valve, the EL header, the exhaust, the wastegate, like, it's amazing. I love the sounds this car makes. And I love it. I love the sound, I love the power, I love the feel, I love the driving, I love everything about it. But I hate it when I enjoy the car to its fullest, if that makes any sense. You want to hit boost every now and then. You want to hit boost, you want to hear the noises, you want to have fun, and it's like I do that, and I remind myself, why am I doing that? Why are you hurting it? Why are you taking life out of it? That one pull you just did is going to let you not have a pull next year. Like, that's how I feel, and it's wrong, and I know it is. It's funny, I actually made a post on the Facebook forums about this, and a lot of people were understanding. A lot of people in my exact situation were saying the same thing. They're like, hey man, like, they reached out to me, we've built, put over 20, 30 grand in our Subarus as well. We love them to death, and we have so much fun with them, but right after having fun, it's instant, like, negative, depressing thoughts in your head about, why did you do that? You hurt it, it's gonna blow up, it's gonna break, it's gonna hurt up, it's gonna break. I get that. I watch all my monitors all the time. I don't preload gears. I'm always like, I'm doing everything right. Honestly, I'm doing everything right you could do to a Subaru to make sure it lives a long life. It was built to the best of abilities, and I'm sure of that. I watched it be built, I know it was built to the best of its abilities with the best of the best parts, and it kills me because I thought by building this car, I wasn't going to feel that. When the car was stock, I was always waiting for the day that it was going to get ringland failure, because it would give me the opportunity to make it bulletproof. You get me? But here we are. It's fully built. It's stronger than ever. I've got all the Killer Bee stuff. I've got the AOS. I've got the best pistons. I've got crazy rods. I've got bearings. I've got studs. I've got this. And I can't even cruise it to pick up some food at night without in my head going, something's gonna go wrong. I don't know why that is. The car hasn't let me down, except for the turbo deal, but that's not my fault. That's fuckface Brandon who sold me the turbo. But the car hasn't let me down, and I feel like I'm letting myself down because of potential thoughts. Now, I think a lot of it has to do with, one, money, and two, forums and people talking. Everybody badmouths Subarus and the Subaru name, and it's funny because somebody actually commented on the Facebook forum. They said, now you see why you go on Craigslist and there's so many people selling their Subarus, and they all say, brand new engine. And he's like, why do you think everybody's selling a Subaru with the brand new engine? And that just kind of hit me, because I'm like, wait a minute. I've been thinking about selling this car because same reason. I'm scared to hurt it, And it's funny, I remember Evan Shanks making that video, and I don't say I'm very much like Evan, but I get anxiety when I think about stuff like this. I stress a lot. Like, stress is like my biggest weakness. And I remember watching that video and going, I know what he's talking about. My dad's car is fine. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know why he's crying about it. Like, it is what it is. It's his loss. He's selling the car. But now that I own the car, I 100% get it. It's unhealthy, and it's a stressful car to own, and I don't know how much I can take of this mentally. I really don't know. It's really, really, really easy to put this car up on Craigslist, sell it, and buy a Corvette Z06, like a C6 Z06. Way more reliable once you do the heads and you put a cam in it, and it's like 570, 580 to the wheel, all motor with a beast heads and cam setups. It's like, it's hard to beat, you know, but that's not what I like. That's not my dream car. This is my dream car. I want to make this work. I'm just lost, guys, and that's why I haven't made videos lately. You don't know how many times I'd be sitting in my room and I'd be like, you don't know how many times I was sitting in my room and I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna go strap the GoPro onto the back. I'm gonna go fucking do pulls, shoot flames, and make a cool-ass YouTube video of beating up my car. Like, shooting flames, doing highway pulls. Like, of course I want that. I want to share the content of what I've built with you guys. But then as soon as I think about it, I go, why am I going to make a 20-minute video and take all that life out of the car that I built and put all of my money into just for like a 5-minute YouTube video? Why? And that kills me because I love YouTube and I love making content for you guys. I love this shit and I love this car, but I can't get over the fact of hurting it. I'm scared to hurt it. I really am. And a lot of it does have to do with money. I don't have money to fix this thing right now. A tranny's $4,000. I blow up this motor. That's another like $4,000 or $5,000. The turbo just blew up. That's $2,000. Like, it's stressful. It's stressful, but we're gonna get through it. My car ain't going nowhere as of right now. I need to take off the intercooler pipes right now. I shouldn't even be talking. We're losing daylight, and he's gonna come pick up the pipes. As of right now, we're gonna powder coat the pipes. I'm saving up for a turbo. We're gonna get a new turbo on here, and we're gonna get back to making some content. And in the meantime, we got the Camaro to make content with, man. That car is still going, and that's a big reason why I also don't understand the stresses of this car, because this little thing right here, my F-body, oh man, she's such a trooper. I love that car to death, and that's why she'll always be my main girl. I'll tell you what, that car has 140,000 miles on the bottom end, and it's got about 12,000 miles on the heads, cam, you know, intake, all that bullshit. All the power adders have about 12,000 miles on it. I've daily driven that car in like excessive amounts of heat. I've driven it in the cold. I've driven it in the rain on skinnies and drag radials. I've done donuts in the rain. Like, I've honestly probably done on this car, since I've owned it for the last like 3.5 years, 4 years, or 4 years, 4.5. Yeah. I've probably done on that car about, I don't know, I've probably done 400 pulls, 300 pulls, like, to be honest, like maybe even 500. I've beat the shit out of that car. I could say at least 200 since the heads and cam. Like, I beat on that car. I take care of it, but as far as like motor wise, I'm not scared. I don't hold back. I get in that car and it's foot to the floor. I mash on it. And that car has had a fucking blown up 4060E for like 2 years now. That tranny itself has been slipping really bad for like 2 years, and I've tracked it like that. I've had so much fun with it, and guess who doesn't care? I don't care. That's my girl. She ain't gonna let me down. I have no idea in my mind that motor's ever gonna blow up or get hurt. That's my baby. That car's always gonna treat me right. And I feel like this car will do the same. But it's not the car giving off that energy. It's me giving off that energy towards the car about hurting it. The car feels solid as hell. Like, it feels strong. It doesn't feel like it'll let me down at all. I feel like I'm gonna break it. Like, I don't know. Well, that being said, guys, I'm glad I've got you guys caught up. I'm glad that I found time to make this video. I'm sorry it's gonna be really long. I hope you stayed, you know, through it all the way to the end. But just want to let you know, don't count me out. I'm still here. I'm still loving YouTube, still loving making these videos. I've had that little break, and now you guys know why. I haven't had anything to record because I've been scared to use my car for content purposes because of what could possibly happen to it. And I realize that's wrong. I realize life is too short and you have to live at everything up to the best of your abilities. So when it gets back, we're going to definitely have some fun with it. And in the meantime, we can do some videos on the Camaro, POV videos, do it, whatever, it'll take it. So let me know what you guys want to see. Definitely, we're going to start having some fun again. I'm glad I picked up the camera. It just feels good just looking at it right here, talking to it. You know, it's definitely good that, you know, I'm back on camera, and I'm happy about it. I hope you guys are as well. So with that being said, guys, I thank you all for watching. I'm going to go ahead and start taking this thing apart, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.